Either one of them. Garrett's down here, Stone's down here, take either one of them. We'll call the City of Cherish Ridge regular council meeting to order. Give everybody a few minutes to look over the minutes, and I'll need a motion in a second.
Get some water. Get some water.
I'm saying there's some juice in there.
Oh,
Mine.
Motion we approve the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the first order of business is under old business is the water project, county.
I've met with Mr. Whitaker twice. He's trying to get started, but he don't want to start and it pouring down rain. Last I heard from him, it wasn't Thursday or Friday. He planned on starting today if it wasn't pouring down rain. Of course, you know what happens, so he's just waiting for the weather to break so he can get started.
So that could be June before the weather breaks.
His starting date is tomorrow, which that's just a figurative date, so.
Have any more questions for Gary?
Speak up, Ian.
I'm not a loudspeaker.
Speak up, boy, when you hear it.
Okay, the next thing is the second reading on ordinance 211-118 on the water sanitation. So we'll need a motion to adopt it on second reading.
Is this just amending the budget for this, or is this?
Yes.
Go.
We passed it on the first
Yeah,
reading
last month. Okay, I'm making a motion to approve second reading for this one.
Nancy, is that for the equipment for the pump house? I got it on order today.
Need to read this.
Ordinance number 2010-118, an ordinance to amend the 2010-11 budget for the water and sewer fund, whereas the City of Tennessee Ridge has previously adopted the operating budget for the fiscal year 2010-11, and whereas the Board of Commissioners for the City of Tennessee Ridge has determined that the appropriation of the interest of the citizens for the City of Tennessee Ridge funds to be amended in the water and sewer funds. Now, hereby add the ordinance for the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tennessee Ridge as follows. Section 1, continuous disinfection and monitoring system, $5,251.95. And Section 2, all resolutions ordinance in conflict with this provision are hereby amended.
We have a motion and a second on this, do we not? All those in favor?
Skip over City Hall since Coach's not here yet.
Let's skip over to it.
Skip over till he gets here. Okay.
Yeah, I think I see him coming in.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, put a ordinance number 210-119, ordinance to amend the budget for the water and sewer fund.
This is the first reading of this one.
This is first reading on this.
Did you read this top part right here?
This is ordinance number 2010-109, an ordinance to amend the 2010-11 budget for the water and sewer fund.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have ordinance number 2010-120. An ordinance to amend the 2010-11 budget for the water and sewer fund. This will be first reading. Need a motion in a second.
This is all transfers too, no new,
This transfers.
no new money or anything. Motion to approve.
And second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item under old business is the city hall. Do you have any updates or?
Yes, I do. Y'all asked me at the last meeting just to pop by and talk to Mr. Seth Rye about the engineering of it. I did. He has showed up tonight. I have also talked to the 3 property owners that y'all requested me to speak to. The Cleggers building is at $250 now. I talked to Mr. Potter at the church. It's still at $125. And I spoke to Mr. Frizzell at the corner of Grace Crossing, and it is negotiable. He said he's nothing firm on the 125. He said he could split it up into whatever we wanted to split up into, or sell it at the whole thing. But I guess it was more or less y'all make an offer.
How many acres was that up there?
3.9, 3 point something. I won't say 9. But that's kind of where we are on that. Y'all make a decision. There's one thing that we need to kind of look at if we go with the church site down here. We will probably have to get somebody in to check for asbestos. But being as we're getting rural development money, I'm sure that we'll probably have to have it checked to make sure that, and if it is, we'll have to go through the process of the abatement of it. And Mr. Wright, he come up with us, we called him, me and the mayor had a meeting with him, and I asked him to be here. I told him about what we was looking for in the city hall, and he come up with some pictures and some blueprints, and he's here to speak to the board tonight on about what the engineering fees will run. If you don't mind, I'll turn it over to Mr. Seth.
Thank you, Mr. Delbert. Again, we really appreciate the call and appreciate you all, thinking of us enough to come, have the mayor and city manager come talk to us about this. So I just wanted to say thank you a lot, just for talking with us. We're a firm located in Erin. We do work in this all across the state. We've got some stuff going on. Far south is the Alabama line to Montgomery County. Got some stuff going on in Humphreys County and all around the area. And so we're just really pleased that we can, just come and show you a few ideas that we had for Tennessee Ridge. And I've got a little bit of literature here that I can hand out. If that's okay, just to kind of give I went ahead and just put our proposal in writing for you, and I'll give you and distribute those however y'all like to. There's 2 full copies there, and I also have some other copies that don't have the company pamphlet in the back for your use also. It outlines. I wanted to go ahead and put everything. Y'all can pass those around if you like, and just these are also just some of our, in a nutshell, what we do there. You want to pass those out. That's another brochure. I've got some. The way I like to do this, if y'all got, I don't want to belabor your whole your process here, but I do have also brought like a picture board in. to show you some of those photos that I had shown Mr. Donovan about a couple of examples of some buildings that are out there now that might be just something for you to consider. And then we can go over what's in that proposal. I don't know where the best place to this booklet. I can pass this around also. It has the photos in it. I'll start this over on this side. And these are of a town we do some work in down in southern Middle Tennessee. That you can kind of see some examples. And obviously there's a lot of different ways that you can go with this. And whenever you, no matter who, we just took a couple of. See if we, Mr. Brown, I may lose some of this stuff, if you don't mind. I apologize.
He already unplugged his phone for me, he thought,
Whatever. And again, I can bring this up close. That book has the same photos in there, but just as a, I apologize for the people out here sitting that can't see that, but what we did is we took a look at two separate buildings that after kind of just based on just some general ideas that Mr. Donovan had mentioned that you all need. One is ADA compliance. I know you're going to have to be ADA compliant. The building over on your I guess that'd be your right hand side, or excuse me, your left over there is a 5,000 square foot building that was built I think 3 years ago, and just kind of an example. That might be a little bit bigger than what you're thinking about there, but you can see it has a brick front facade to it. This building has brick all the way around, and I'm talking to Mr. Donovan. Has some really good ideas on saving some money there. It might be something you might be looking at trying to go with maybe a different material in the back, like a metal or something like that. But that's where we also visited another site which has a much smaller. This is actually a utility office. It's a much smaller building. I think it's more like around 1,500 square feet. And some of the features that you might be able to make benefit of here that Mr. Donovan mentioned was like having a drive-up bill pay window. So there's several there's features of both of these buildings that I think you could look at and come up. You may have your own ideas about it. There's just something to kind of get a look at. One other thing that we wanted to call out in this middle pane of this poster here. There's a community room area that the larger building has in it, and it serves as both their council chambers, and the chairs are removable so that they can have events and things like that in the same room. Kind of a multi-purpose, can serve as council chambers and then can serve as a multi-purpose area. That was one of the nice features of this, and obviously that could be configured in a lot of different ways. What we were thinking, and after looking at it again, it kind of depends on the budget you're looking at, but if we were kind of thinking of a sort of a hybrid approach between these two concepts and coming up with a building that's more like about 2,400 square feet as a kind of as an example to go by. And at $100 a square foot, you're looking at a building to cost, would probably cost around $240,000 for the building. Now, that can be, obviously, the size of that can be adjusted, but that's just kind of a roundabout figure of, what something like this might cost. And, if y'all would like us to design a building like that for you, the percentage is approximately 8% is what we would charge to take this thing all the way from, the conceptual, getting down, making sure you all are getting a building that you want, working through that whole process to all the design, the architectural, the structural, the plumbing, HVAC, and making sure that the building is compliant. We do that for about 8%, which on the building of $240,000, I think it comes up to like $19,200 is what the engineering fee would be on something like this. So I wanted to be very upfront about what we would charge for, for taking this, and that's also bidding the project, having a competitive bid, to meet with your municipal requirements there, all the state requirements that are present with that. So that would be our, a good estimate. Now, if the price of this goes up, then the fee, we would talk to you about the fee being adjusted if it's a lot, because it's just gonna actually cost more to design a bigger building. If something was smaller, we would also talk with you about, adjusting that price downward too on a smaller building, so, but,
Trying to think, Stoney had talked to you about was about a 60 by 40 somewhere in that size. And does this cost include the periodic inspections throughout the construction of it, or will that be an addition?
well, that would be an additional cost. Now, if it's, it would depend on the scope of that. If you want somebody there every day, which you probably don't need, that would be obviously more expensive. But if we were just gonna come up there on a periodic basis, have somebody come up once a week to check on things, or an as-needed basis, you're not probably talking about maybe another percent or something like that. That's just a ballpark, and we could give you some firm figures on that. But if it's just a kind of a periodic spot check, it's not gonna be a lot of, you're not talking about a lot of, a lot of.
This ain't exactly like a water line where you really need an inspector there all the time. Just a periodic, maybe once a week or so, just to make sure no corners are being cut anywhere. Would be my suggestion.
I think that's a good suggestion. And also something too, again, we can get into a lot of these, if we're so, lucky to be able to help y'all further with this, we can get into the details, but just some other ideas that we could try to keep this. You can see both these structures are not overly elaborate. They don't look like they necessarily would belong like in the middle of a major downtown area. They look, to me, like something that you could get local contractors to give very good prices on, I think, be very comfortable, getting a lot of local competition, which I think is key here to keeping your price down in construction. So that's a couple of these concepts, and obviously we could go in a lot of different directions with this, but that's, some of the reasons we picked these two, because they were, and I believe they were both done in that time. They were done using local contractors were able to come in and compete without having to go to a lot of the bigger cities to get contractors out of.
So like when you and the mayor met down there, kind of what me and him had in mind that we took from the board was maybe something along the lines of a metal building with a brick facade in the front. That's kind of the way that, the cost-effective way, if this happens, is to do that.
And that's exactly right. And kind of give you, on that note, I think to give you an idea, we had actual numbers on these buildings. Your big building over there with brick all the way around, it was around, and it's over 5,000 square feet. I think it was maybe 5,500 square feet. It was around 600,000 to build 3 years ago. This building, which is a much more economical, even if you want it bigger, it's still a much more economical style to go with, was around $60,000, and that was that was 10 years ago. So I mean, it's going to be more expensive than that now, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the range that you could be in. And I agree with Mr. Donovan, if you could take this and make it a little bit bigger to get you the space that you need, and maybe make the front a little bit more decorative to match the spirit of the town there. I believe you could do that and probably come away with a much more economical building to build.
So let me stop you just a second
Yes.
on this. The difference here, and I know the price, of course, but with what's going on today, how these buildings here, these metal buildings, they want to withstand some strong winds and the roof and everything like that. Is that like some of the winds that we've had here the last few days and stuff like that? Is that, I'm assuming the brick is stronger all the way around, but I mean, is that going to withstand some pretty good winds?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, Tim. And the answer is if it's designed properly, and that's what you have to make sure of. You see a lot of barns and things that may be put up that aren't designed to as strict of a building code, and those would not necessarily withstand, even though they might look similar. If you're just looking at it from the surface, those buildings, a shed or a equipment building is probably not going to be built most of the time to the strictest standards as you would if you were building one for occupancy. Okay. So that's where it would have to meet the same. Both of these two buildings would have to meet the same codes if you wanted them to. And I realize that Tennessee Ridge building code, may not have a form, but we would want to design this thing to where it would withstand, like you say, both of these would be equal as far as wind loads and things of that nature. That's a good question.
I mean, we hate to build something and then one big windstorm or tornado come through and we have to repair right off the bat.
That's a really good
We get
question.
storms around here quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and like I say, I would advise, making sure that the building codes are followed when you're doing that, to prevent that problem. And any other, I guess I didn't even introduce my staff here. This is Mike Shepard. Mike Shepard is, I met Mike at the city of Clarksville. He's retired from the city of Clarksville, what, 32 years? Yeah. As a
superintendent over the water and wastewater construction for 32 years.
And Matthew Rye, he's currently Mike's project manager, and Matthew also is up managing one of our projects on up in Montgomery County right now. And really glad that's my brother. Really glad to have him on. He's doing a wonderful job too. And Cass Rye in the back, my dad. So when we say Rye Engineering, there's a lot of Ryes involved, but I'm really appreciative to have a good staff here, and I appreciate that they came up. And another thing too that Mr. Donovan mentioned, as far as going up and checking on those projects. The good thing is why it's not going to cost much is because we're close. And if there's any problems with it, come by the office and we'll talk about it. If I need to come up to the site anytime, or have someone come up there, if problems are going on, that's another advantage we feel like that we can bring to the table for local communities. That makes it, hopefully would make that a desirable
He said,
part of it.
tell them about the police on that.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. The brick building, the more expensive building, it also has, I don't know if you look at the front, it has kind of the three gables there. The center gable is where you walk in, that's the lobby area, but the one to the your right is a police department area. And I realize that could be something that could be omitted from a design like that to make it less expensive, or it could be used for a different area. That's one reason the square footage on that one is so big. For a town that's really, that town is really not a very big, a large town, but it has, but they went ahead and they have a police department there, so that's what they use that part. So that could be modified, and again, we could start from scratch with a set of plans too. There's nothing to say that we couldn't do that, but that's why, one reason why that building was built bigger than it probably really needed to be just for a city hall building. But I guess with any questions y'all have, and even after this meeting, just feel free to give me a call. I've got my card in there, and just we'll be happy to come up and to answer any questions that we can about anything as far as this goes.
He said, turn it around and see.
Oh, no, get on the crowd can see.
Oh yeah, Mr. Davis.
Well, that's so the crowd here can see it.
I'd like to thank the council too for hearing us out here. I know y'all probably don't like to stay too long.
Thank you.
Got it? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate that you came and presented.
Yeah, we're tickled to do it.
And I'm not trying to get in his, I promise you I'm not. This building is where they accept payments for the water and the sewer and all that. And then this other one, it has the drive up here. And that other one, they pay taxes, they pay their property tax down there. And that building, probably those photos don't do it justice, but now it's not elaborate, it's not fancy, but it is useful. Where they have their council, that is a nice area. They've got a permanent where they sit, and then all these chairs, they just move them out when they have this, but it's sharp.
Where were those at?
Ardmore, Tennessee.
Ardmore.
65 South, Exit 1.
Yeah, and again, there are, if y'all like us to go further with this process, we want to make sure you get something that the city of Tennessee Ridge is going to be proud of. And this may not be the answer. This is just some experience we had with some buildings, but we could bring a wide array of photographs and some floor plan sketches that we could work directly with you all to get them to get it the way you want it. So, again, we really appreciate the opportunity to come by and talk to you about it, and, you know, we'd love to be able to do this work for you, to help you out. So just, if we can be of help, please just let us know on that. And like I say, any questions that you all have, we'll certainly try to answer. Kenneth, is that?
That pretty well,
Okay.
does that cover everything that y'all
Yeah.
asked me to do last month? Kind of give you some ideas of what's going on. I guess the first thing, we're definitely going to have to move forward with something, or we're going to have to start holding meetings. Did you ever talk to her about that? Because I think that we actually, after May 1, we may actually have to start holding our meetings in another building, in another facility somewhere, the way I understood what she told us the last time she was down here. Because there's no way we're going to have anything done by May 1. And we're just going to have to get a clarification that maybe they'll let us carry on hereafter if we're making a good faith effort in trying to go forward with this, is what we're hoping. But she never did really clarify when we asked her in here the other day. And we have tried to call back a time or two, and we have not been able to get a hold of her. But, you know, I guess the biggest thing the board gotta do now is just figure, you know, which piece of property do you want to sue? And then if you want to go with Mr. Rice Engineering Firm or whatever, there's a couple of decisions that I feel have to be made, and then we can get back with you, Seth, hopefully within the next 30 to 90 days.
That's fine.
And get things to moving forward.
Okay.
But we do appreciate you showing up.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome, thank you very much.
Yes, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
Enjoyed your presentation, it was great.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again. Yeah.
Glad you got something to do.
Yeah, me too.
Do you want to have any more questions for Seth, or Dennis, you got anything
No,
else on
I'm
this?
just,
or-
got a remark on the next thing.
Do we know about rural development money for this thing yet or not? I mean, is that something?
She talked about the last meeting, of course you couldn't make it because we changed it, but, and I can't remember the amount she quoted us on.
500,000.
Was it 500,000?
It's 4.
425 to 475, that was the rate then.
And that would acquire, that we could borrow money to acquire land plus do a building through them on a 40-year.
So it could include the land and the...
Yes, we could acquire land, make a land purchase with it, and build a city hall on it. And I think that was on, was 40 years, was the longest they could.
What, with these buildings, what about parking issues? This seems like a problem out here or something.
It is, and that's, you know,
We need some more parking spaces.
the 3 locations that's on the table, they all have or can have ample parking
Okay.
and easy access, because this is not the easiest place to get in and out of. It'll be the fire hall parking lot or the city hall parking lot. And with the three lots that we have talked about, and I personally, do you know of any other property other than that has accessibility plus those are the only 3 that I know of, right off the top of my head, that's actually on the market. But it kind of gives us accessibility and a large enough area that we can actually have a decent parking lot.
Now, that rural development money, it would, if we decided to, I mean, that's new construction or if
New
we...
construction or remodel.
Or remodel.
Whichever
Okay.
way we go, it's there for either one.
Had 4.25% for 40 years, is what she quoted. And we calculated that, or I got it on the kind of amortization schedule and payment on that rate would be $2,168 a month.
And that was on $500,000, correct?
That's on $500,000.
Which we're actually hoping to acquire land and build and stay under $350, is what the hopes are. That's kind of our goal that we're setting, if we do this, is to keep it as low as possible.
could you do something and think about maybe, maybe not finishing it all, but having a, you know, a structure for it to be expanded, because that's something that, you know, in the past, I don't know that, a lot of governments around haven't looked at, you know, growth and future expansion and things, and then they come up and then they've got to build something else where they don't have enough room before they know it.
Well, me and the mayor met with Seth. That was one of our things that we told him, whichever way we go or whatever we build, we definitely want it to where if it's 50 years down the road, they need to add on to it, it'll be easy to come back in and add on, and, you know, other than having to go find another location. And that's the key to having a big enough piece of property also, to where you can do, you know, if you need expenditures 25, 30 years down the road, you can have it. And the building, the size that me and the mayor, and y'all may want something bigger, may want something smaller. We just give him a ballpark figure of about what we kind of thought we had been talking about, and then it was a 40 by 60.
Well, like I was telling Holly a second ago, I mean, unless I read this wrong, the census shows that Tennessee Ridge actually has a bigger population than Erin now.
Yes.
And I don't see that might not continue to be the trend. And I'd rather have something, I mean, we're not thinking of a police department here, but 30 years from now, we may be. I'd rather have something that we could put that in easily than have to go back and redo something completely or find another land or something like that, you know, at the time. I mean, you gotta build for the future instead of, you need to build for 50 years down the road, not just 5, you know, or 10 even.
Well, that's the reason why we come up with 2 different ideas, is because y'all as the governing body can make that decision on which way that you want to go with. We've kind of give you what we consider to be a high end of it, and then we give you what we consider to be the low.
Like Sid said, you know, you see a lot of, happens with buildings, it happens with highways, you're not building enough for the future, and you have to come back and redo, and in the long run, you're costing more money when you do something like that, and so you have a chance to do it all up front.
And you'd think it'd be cheaper now than it will be 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
Definitely will be. Well, see, that's one of the problems with this particular lot. We have kind of boxed everything in around it, got a water tank here, a fire hall there, and you've not got no room. If you did expand, you still are faced with a parking issue that, you know, if we get many more people than what we've got right here, I've got the fire department door blocked over, but I left keys in the vehicle, so hopefully I won't get no ticket. But that's the issue, that's one of the issues that we have up here too. And, you know, like you said, you need to plan for the future on down the road. You know, it ain't always gonna stay the same Tennessee Ridge. Everything around us is growing, and like the census proves that we're growing as a city up here also.
Any more questions or discussion on this? If not, we'll move on to the next thing on the agenda, and that's the BWSC invoices.
I spoke with Dean about them, and he apologizes for not being able to be here tonight. He had some storm issues in the community, and he couldn't make it down. But the problem with these invoices is, he done a environmental on a job that another engineering firm had, which that was the last county project, which is actually still going on, but it's the environmental for it. And his explanation he gave me was that if you remember, we was late on getting started on this because the environmental was the holdup. Whenever we finally did get started, it was said that it was Bars Wagner's fault. Well, anyway, he had about twice as many hours involved in this by having to deal with another engineering firm. And that was the explanation that he gave to me, was the billed hours is what made the bill as high, is what it was. And that's the reason why it was $4,000 more than, I guess, what, we paid one payment of $4,000, and then another payment came in at $4,000. But he said that he should be here next month if y'all want to table this until he can come down and he would talk to you, but that's more or less, because I told him what y'all wanted and why you was asking questions, because we was under the consumption that when we paid the $4,000 that we paid for the environmental on that. He said, well, he said there was still some more stuff that was done after that was paid, and all the hours was not turned in on the first bill, but that was the explanation I got from him.
I thought our question was it, no, don't remember half of what goes on, but anyway, that it took them so long to turn in these invoices that, wasn't that Nancy, that it was like the project had been over and everything, and then here they come, what, a year later with these invoices?
Well, I
That was our
apologize.
question, and that was what we were waiting on Dean to verify.
I say I didn't know,
Why it had
I
taken so
did
long.
not ask you my question. I apologize that I wasn't at our last meeting to know what the question was y'all had for him. But you can table it until next month, and he said he was planning on being here this month.
What was God wanted to do on that, just, wait until Dean is here to explain why it took a year to get some other invoices and charge us money for them, or
Yeah, I'd say table it till he's here so he can speak.
speak and explain to us. We'll just wait until Dean's here to explain better, give us a better understanding of why it took so long for that bill to come in, or for the bill to come up with all the bills. We'll look at that. Is there anything else under our business that anybody wants to bring up, discuss?
Well, I don't know if this is old business or not, but all these letters of people resigning from the planning commission, do we still have to have a planning commission if we're not gonna have the zoning ordinance?
Yes, you will.
You have to?
It's part of the 3-star, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of the criteria for them.
You still got subdivision regulations that, if anybody builds anything, if anybody subdivides a piece of property to less than 5 acres, you're gonna have to, before it can be surveyed out, it's gonna have to come before the planning commission. So you're gonna have to have, you still gonna have to have a planning commission.
Is there anything else that we need to do under our business now? If not, we'll move on to new business, the budget amendment.
We did those.
Already did
That was
those.
on
That's on the other, okay. And so we're done taking care of that on the other ones, the amendments and things under the ordinances then. Okay. And, I think we had,
Let's go.
Ms. Gow,
Yes.
I understand that you'd like to speak to us.
Well, just for a minute, and I appreciate y'all allowing me to speak. I'm not on the agenda, but my name's Betty Go, and I've been working with Danny Pepper, who lives in Dover and is with the Leaf Chronicle, and he was wanting me to come. I'm sure y'all are familiar with these brochures that they put out in the newspaper that's called The Great Outdoors. This one just came out just a week or two ago. And then this is the one that's coming out toward the end of May. It's called The Summer Vacation Guide. And what he was interested in trying to do is to see if you all would consider spending any money with the county and Aaron to try to promote our city and businesses out this way, in Houston County, of course. So, if I can leave these here, we're not really talking about much money. This is the ad that Cumberland City and Dover put in last year, and these little ads would be for businesses in the area that want to advertise, and they would be available like at $120 or $150. And then this ad right here, which Cumberland City was advertising, of course, their fireworks display and all of that, and that ad is going to be $600. And if Aaron and Houston County would want to contribute some money to promoting our county out here. We're not talking probably a couple $100, $200-300. So anyway, I can leave these and y'all can look at them and the deadline for these is, I think he said May 2nd or something like that. Hopefully it'll be after your next board meeting, and y'all can make a decision about that. But it'd be something to think about. So I can leave these here if that's what y'all want to do and look at them at your leisure and see if they would be a benefit to our county. Oh, here's the literature that goes with it, and now these prices that are on this sheet, I'm not going to leave that because that'll just be confusing. The prices that are applicable are on the back of that brochure, and then this is the reach on the advertising. So kind of tells how many newspapers, how many people.
This one here, did you say Cumberland City and Dover went in together?
Well, you can, no, not that one. That's just Cumberland Cities.
Okay.
But it seems like most of the counties and the small communities and, surrounding us do try to advertise in these, I don't know what you call them, flyers to kind of promote their counties.
Some interesting things in those booklets I've read and the paper and the electronic. There's quite a bit of information in there that you wouldn't know otherwise that play different places and things.
Well, and the other thing that's beneficial is that the small businesses in the county can put their own ad in there, whereas if they try to do that kind of advertising on their own, most of the time it's pretty cost prohibitive. But if we can put together a whole big page like that and split up the cost with, 5 or 6 businesses in the county and the city, or the towns in the area, it's doable. It's cooperative advertising is what it really boils down to.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Scott?
It's just for one page.
It just
For one page.
for one.
Not the whole book, just one page.
Yeah, just the one. Yeah, just one page.
Well, thank you for coming by and sharing with us. And
Well, thank you for letting me to get that word out there. I appreciate that.
that's quite all right. Thank you for stopping. All right, is there anything else under new business that we need to take up? If not, we'll move on to reports and recommendations on the sewer project, and Dean's not here, so we'll have to wait until next month unless you have anything.
Have you got the list together on the problem?
I have not had a chance.
He asked me to.
I left that up to Jerry and Leslie.
Okay. That's one thing he asked me to do.
I've delegated, I've had too much to do. I do know Old Street Road. I won't stop till Old Street Road is fixed. That's if y'all have to deal with me, that's how I am, so just.
I didn't know I was on this, but Old Stewart Road, and there's still a question about, down around the flow meter on Mobley Lane. As far as it's built up enough on the manholes and the grass and all that.
So we'll wait till next month, and hopefully the Dean will be here to take care of all that for us then. Is there anything else that anybody needs to bring to the board, or?
Have you got anything you want to report about, or?
I've got my monthly report. We started putting up the new hydrant markers. We're not going to put them on the pavement anymore. These actually attach to the hydrant. Ours are blue. This is just a sample that they sent. So when you go home tonight, just kind of look around because we have got some already out. And also I need to see where we are on getting our parking lot fixed. I know we brought that up last year and don't know where we stand on that.
It's in the budget for next year to do that.
Okay.
That's one of the things we've added this year.
It's on the list to be put in the budget this year.
Well, I thought the board appropriated some money when they talked about it before.
They just talked about it.
We talked about it, we never appropriated anything.
I know it went for 2 readings.
I think, no, what was said was they put it in next year's budget.
Okay.
One thing that happened, it got late in the year, and the weather turned bad on us. What you're thinking of is, I was trying to get with National Guard to get the old ripped out and then a base put in there of stone, so we wouldn't have the problem with the bumping. And that was one of the board agreed to pay for the gravel if we could do that. And then, once we got that set up, we had to approve the money for the concrete also.
Okay.
But I think we're gonna put in there of tearing out and putting back in, we're just gonna spec it the way.
Do it all.
Right, rather than, we missed last fall's opportunity with the armory because we never could get together, so, just hire somebody to do it all and it'll be done with.
That's all I got.
Anything else? Anyone? We need to discuss or bring up anything? Did I hear a motion to adjourn?
Someone.
You hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We'd like to thank everyone for coming and attending the meeting and showing an interest in the business of Tennis Ridge and